50-year-old mystery could soon be solved. The FBI is investigating claims that a Michigan man and a toddler who disappeared without a trace in the 1950s are in fact the same person. CBS News correspondent Terrell Brown has been following the case and has details. Good morning.
Harry, Mackie, good morning to you both. And you know, it's such a bizarre case. There are so many questions here that are still being considered. Here's what we know here this morning. John Barnes claims that he is the 3-year-old boy kidnapped 54 years ago in Long Island, New York. Among other things, he says he has a scar on his face and a birthmark on his calf that match the description of little Stephen Damon.
Halloween afternoon, 1955. 3-year-old Stephen Damon stood next to a baby carriage with his 7-month-old sister, Pamela. While their mother stopped at a local market, she discovered 10 minutes later, her young son had vanished. Thousands combed fields, but little Stephen would never be found. Today, the boy's father is 78 years old and divorced. The mother, now in a nursing home, unaware of any recent developments.
It would be nice to have some closure on it and find out what happened, maybe, really.
Now this man, John Barnes of Michigan, said he just might be Stephen Damon. For years, he questioned if his parents really were his parents. Recently, Barnes had his DNA compared with Stephen's little sister, Pamela. The results didn't rule out relation, but the FBI will have the final word. Nassau County Police are eager to learn if Barnes is in fact Stephen Damon, but that won't answer all the questions that have lingered for 5 decades.
How did this happen? That's the next thing. How did it happen? How did this 3-year-old boy end up in Michigan? You know, and that's something that I don't know if we'll ever find out. Hopefully we can.
In the meantime, closure is still on hold for this half-century-old mystery.
And Barnes began investigating his roots after his mother told him on her deathbed that he was not her biological son. We expect the final results from the FBI in about a month or two. Harry, over to you.
Terrell Brown, thanks. Joining us now is the nephew of the boy who went missing all those years ago, Matt Greer. Good morning.
Good morning.
You got a letter in the mail some months back, almost by accident, that was intended for your mother.
That's correct.
And this is a letter from John Barnes, this fellow in Michigan, who says, I think I might be that kid who went missing. What was your reaction? What was your mother's reaction when you went through this material?
Oh boy, I mean, there was a big moment of silence. Of course, once I got to that part in the letter, basically just trying to realize what was going on and that this could possibly be him. It was a shock for both of us.
Right.
Yeah.
Subsequently, then, it seems like your mother and this man have developed a relationship. They've been in conversation with one another.
That's correct.
Yeah. Does your mother, does she want to believe this is real?
Oh yeah, she loves Stephen. What name he wants to go by, I'm sure it's probably not Stephen, but she loves him, and she's always wanted to see him come home and be with his family.
Wow.
She loves him dearly. Yeah.
Has it occurred to you in the family that there's a possibility that this guy, for whatever reasons, is just trying to manipulate you emotionally or whatever, and it could be a hoax? Have you had that conversation?
Yes. That was my very first thought when I read the letter. After reading it to my mother and after she came over to my house, talking to her about it, we discussed that. And after reading the letter, it was pretty obvious that he really didn't want anything. He wasn't asking for anything other than a phone call saying whether or not we see any similarities or anything that strikes.
There's some new pictures. This is on the front of the New York Daily News today, and it is uncanny, to say the least. Although, in a situation like this, sometimes you believe what you want to believe.
Right.
You may not want to really see the truth. Apparently, your mother's brother has been contacted. He sees the resemblance. He'd like to believe this is all true. As his relatives have been contacted, this John Barnes, they say it's hokum. This is all so much baloney. I guess this has all put you all in kind of a very interesting sort of emotional place, waiting to find out the truth.
Right. Yes, I've been asked if I want a relationship with John, and it's just not the time until the proper authorities tell me that it's definitely him.
Wow.
You know.
It really is some story, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Thanks very much for taking the time to speak with us. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Matt Greer.